Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Hi, folks. Welcome back. And those of you that are new, welcome. This video is going to be a little longer than normal. With my 10-minute video here and then the commentary, it's probably going to be a little bit longer. But please watch it. I think this is incredibly important. A lot going on here. This is from the congressional hearing this afternoon with the head of the Secret Service, Ms. Cheadle, and two Congress members asking them questions. And it's amazing how she answers, I should say doesn't answer. And I'll make comments along the way, but I got to tell you, what the hell is going on? Let's listen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Cheadle, the American people are watching, and they're wondering if there are any questions you can answer honestly today. So, Director Cheadle, I have a series of questions, very specific questions. I want very specific answers. Most of my questions are going to demand a yes or no answer. Do you understand?
Yes or no answers they hate like a passion because they just don't like to be pinned down. They can't take over the time with these long answers because they're only allowed, I think, 5 minutes each Congress member, or the meetings will go on for days. And they try to waste as much money as they can, but Democrats have done that for years. But Republicans are learning, we're not going to put up with it from these witnesses. Let's hear it. Let's listen on.
I do. Okay, my first question. Both sides of the aisle today have asked for your resignation. Would you like to use my 5 minutes to draft your resignation letter, yes or no?
No, thank you.
Was this a colossal failure?
It was a failure.
Yes or no? Was it a colossal failure is the question, yes or no?
I have admitted this is a terrible...
This is a yes or no series of questions. Was this a colossal failure, yes or no?
Yes.
Was this tragedy preventable, yes or no?
Yes.
Has the Secret Service been transparent with this committee?
Yes.
Yeah, of course she's not going to say no. But the fact of the matter is she knows that she hasn't been. And she's going to list off a few of the items. I want you to wait till the very end with the other Congress member when he makes a shot concerning her. He used to be head of security for PepsiCo, which is also Frito-Lay. It's kind of comical, actually. And he recreated the setup, the assassination attempt in Texas. Almost the same weapon, same distance, and his findings are alarming. Let's listen.
Would you say the fact that we had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today as being transparent, yes or no?
I have always been
Yes or no? You didn't want to answer the question. We had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today. That is not transparent, by the way. You stated earlier Secret Service is not political. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say leaking your opening statement to Punchbowl News, Politico's Playbook, and Washington Post several hours before you sent it to this committee as being political, yes or no?
Oh, oops. Somehow, nobody knows, some way, somebody leaked it out to 3 ultra-left publications. I don't know how that could have happened. Oh, my word. Let me clutch my pearls. These people suck.
I have no idea how my statement got out.
Well, that's bull. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record articles by Punchbowl News, Political Playbook, Washington.
Now, I want to say, when she said bullshit, I want to make a point. It seems that the higher percent, the majority of people that are Republican in the U.S. Congress, House of Representatives, the ones that have the most balls are women. Go figure.
Post. All done at 5:24 a.m., 6:12 a.m., 6:34 a.m. A solid 3 to 4 hours before this committee got your statement.
Without objection, so ordered.
Okay. Is the Secret Service fully cooperating with our committee?
Yes.
Okay. You say you're fully cooperating with this committee. On July 15th, this committee sent you a list of demands of information that we wanted. Has the Secret Service provided this committee a complete list of all law enforcement personnel that were there that day? Have you done that? Have you provided a list to the Oversight Committee? Yes or no?
I will have to get back to you on that.
That means, of course, no. I ignored it all. Why? I can't be fired. Can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. We have a president that announced he's not running for re-election. He can't resign because that would be admitting he was mentally unfit. But he got COVID, so he's been cloistered away. The real president, or people that are the president, the number of them, would never fire her. You can say and do what you want if you're never going to be fired.
That is a no. Have you provided all audio and video recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th, yes or no?
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full of today. You're just being completely dishonest. Mr.
Chairman,
Mr. Chairman,
I want to.
Come on.
We have to maintain decorum in this committee, no matter how
have you provided
upset we
any
get.
and all memos to this committee that we've asked you on July 15th? Have you?
Maintain decorum. They called former President Trump everything but nice. They accused him of being a spy for an enemy of this country. They accused him of all kinds of stuff. They compared him to, I'll just say, the German chancellor in 1930s. They compared him to everything under the sun. He was a Chinese plant. He was a Russian spy, and on and on and on. He's a threat to democracy. He should be removed. Blah, blah, blah. That's not proper quorum. That's not proper language. But this is? Because he said shit? Really?
You provided all memorandums within the Secret Service.
I would have to get back to you on that.
That is a no. You are being dishonest or lying. You're being dishonest here with this committee. These are important questions that the American people want answers to, and you're just dodging and talking around it in generalities. And we had to subpoena you to be here, and you won't even answer the questions. We have asked you repeatedly to answer our questions. This isn't hard. These are not hard questions. Have you provided us all communications from the Secret Service related to that day and that rally? Have you provided this committee? We've asked for this information on July 15th. Have you provided any of this information that this committee has asked of the Secret Service? Any of it?
I'll have to get back to you.
Have you?
Little side note that I found out today, that they go back and forth on their radios talking to each other. These Secret Service members, or maybe even state police or law enforcement, and all those are recorded. So they can listen to them later, maybe try to improve how they do things. Mystery of mysteries. Uh-oh. Those recordings don't exist anymore. They just vanished. Isn't that interesting?
You even read this letter that we sent you. Did you even read this?
Yes.
Okay. And you have said you don't know, you have no idea. The answer is no. We haven't gotten a single document or piece of information or data from you or your agency in related to the rally that we have asked you for. So was this attempted assassination of Donald Trump a failure of training or execution or both?
I think that those are answers that we need to
Training,
examine.
execution, or both? Which one?
I think those are answers.
All right. How many Secret Service personnel have lost?
Now, granted, this is 10 days. 9 days since the attempted assassination on Saturday. 9 days. She knows absolutely nothing? Really?
Lost their jobs due to this colossal failure?
At this time, none.
How many Secret Service personnel have been required to take a refresher course on how not to let people shoot Donald Trump?
Our personnel are currently...
That's a great question. They've been trained to not shoot Donald Trump. I love this woman. I really do.
operational. We are examining the facts of this investigation, and we will make the changes necessary.
What time did law enforcement become aware that there was an individual on the roof with a clear line of sight to President Trump?
I am still verifying timelines.
Of course, 9 days in, you have no answers. How many minutes went by between the time law enforcement saw and took photos of crooks and the shooting? How many minutes?
I am still verifying timelines.
57 minutes.
There's enough video just on the internet from individuals, because everybody has a cell phone now, that you can tell from the president's speech, what words he's saying, you can hear in the background, how long. For a lot of this stuff. You don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to figure out and fill in a lot of the time. But yet, we can't verify anything. As my Italian grandmother used to say, what are you, a stupid?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
Now, this next Congress member, I believe he's Representative Fallon, is pretty good. And he's the one that set up the recreation in Texas where he represents, the distance, the buildings, everything. And he has an AR-15. He hasn't fired it, I think he said 5 or 6 years. And they tried to recreate the situation. You know, how high the stage was when Trump was standing on, the height of the building, the works. And it's fascinating, the conclusion they came up with and how successful he was. But what's really funny is, remember, she used to be head of security for PepsiCo. For those of you out there that don't know, that's Pepsi soda, as well as Frito-Lay, Doritos, chips, that kind of thing. Listen to this.
Chair now recognizes Mr. Fallon from Texas.
How did a 20-year-old loner with a week's notice pick the absolute best location to assassinate President Trump when the entire Secret Service missed it? Director Cheadle, in your leadership, your agency got outsmarted and outmaneuvered by a 20-year-old. How can we have any confidence that you could stop a trained professionals from a nefarious nation state?
Those are absolutely questions that we need to have.
I know they're
answers
questions,
to.
but the fact of the matter is we can't have that confidence. Director, do you have the ability personally, and do you have the authority to beef up security of any of your protectees?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So were you also aware there was a credible threat President Trump was facing? He was facing a heightened security threat to a foreign adversary?
That foreign adversary was Iran, or one of Iran's surrogates. That's actually true, and everybody knows it, and she admitted it. Trump even knew. And they still didn't beef up security, and they still didn't properly police the area, or maybe have a sniper on that roof, and she blamed the slope. And it's fascinating how he debunks that.
Yes.
Okay. So given that there was an increased threat to President Trump's life, was he provided a full security complement akin to what a sitting U.S. president would receive?
He was provided a full complement of security based on the threat assessment that we had.
That's not my question.
Yeah, these guys don't answer the question. Well, he's a former president, and I think he's an a-hole. So we're going to give him the minimum we possibly can. That's what I got out of that.
You.
My question is, if he'd been the sitting president, would he have had the same security he had on July 13th, or would have been beefed up?
There is a difference between the sitting president.
So your answer is he didn't.
And continuity of government and the responsibility
So he
that we
did
have.
not. Okay, there wasn't a CAT team, a full CAT team on site. There wasn't
Continuity of government. What the F are you talking about? My God, my God. She had to be confirmed. Another DEI hire. I'm sorry, but it's true.
counter surveillance teams on site. But this is the thing. You just said you had the ability to beef up the security. You knew about the threat, and you didn't. And that's as telling as it is chilling. We have satellite images from the Butler Fairgrounds. Have you visited the site?
No, I have not.
9 days and you have not visited the site.
9 days and she hasn't gone to the site. That's not very far from Washington by jet. It's in western Pennsylvania, close to the Ohio border. It's not that far. You can go there, spend an afternoon, the whole afternoon there, and come back and still be home for dinner.
You should have been there that night. Did you talk to, that evening, did you talk to the team, the heroes that surrounded the president? Did you call them that night?
They were still operational work.
So that's an answer is no. Did you call them the next day?
President. Yes, I spoke with
You called them the very next day, not the day of, or was it 72 hours after?
I don't know the timeline, but I spoke with
Okay,
them
because you're under oath.
immediately
I
following.
think it was 72 hours after. You waited 3 days.
Yeah, she can't answer it because she's under oath. So you've got to dodge everything. So that way you're not charged with perjury.
What is immediately clear is that there are a number of structures that need to be secured. Of these, Director, other than the first, immediate four, what's the most dangerous site that should have been secured? Because security 101, you got to mitigate the high ground.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what the next most dangerous site, what was the closest structure to the president, other than the 4 immediate ones that you had your counter sniper teams on?
There are a number of structures around that event site.
You know who the shooter knew? The shooter has visited the site 2 more times than you have.
Oh, I love that. The shooter has visited the site 2 more times than you have. That's great. It's about time, not very many, but a bigger percent of Republicans now are finally fighting back. Now, they can't get any answers, but at least they're growing a set. Their spines are getting a little bit better. Sadly, it's mostly women, but not all. Now, the rest of the Republicans have to get on board and play the same in your face as the Democrats do to Republicans that are witnesses. They treat them like crap, and they get away with it. Where the Republicans say, well, you know, we're the party that's much more civil and all that. Screw that. Screw that.
And he had a drone, and he picked the AGR building. So you said, do you remember in an ABC interview you did that you didn't have people on the roof of the AGR building because you were worried about safety because of the slope?
Oh, wait till you hear this. This is great.
I recall that statement.
Okay. Does the Secret Service have written policy you can share with us about slope roofs?
No.
Okay. So why'd you act like there was one? Because is it your practice to comment on enormous events of enormous national implications when you're ignorant of the facts? That's rhetorical. So here's this thing with the slopes. You go all up to like 1812. You can go to a 112, which is about as flat as you can get without it being completely flat. And you're saying that there was a danger, safety concern there. But the problem is, Director, you put your counter snipers on a 312 roof, which is steeper than the 112. And by the
Yeah, if you remember from the pictures, the snipers that are there are at a pretty good steep angle. But the building that the shooter was on was, like he said, 112, which is almost flat.
way, the 112 is ADA compliant. You can build a ramp for a wheelchair on a 112 roof. So these are nothing but pathetic excuses, and they make no sense, and they're a bunch of cow dung. All the law enforcement I've spoken with over the last 9 days are amazed that the AGR rooftop was not secure. And you want to know why? Because it's dangerous. I have never had any long gun training in my life. I own an AR-15, and last time I shot it one time my whole life. It was 6 years ago. That is until Saturday, where we recreated the events in Savoy, Texas. We recreated what happened to Butler. I was lying prone on a sloped roof at 130 yards at 6:30 at night. And I knew that he had a scope. I didn't know what kind, red dot or magnified. So I shot 8 rounds from both. You know what the result was? 15 out of 16 kill shots. And the one I missed would have hit the president's ear.
Now listen to that. These people that target shoot for sport, they say that this is basically a 1-foot putt, that almost anyone can do it. In fact, anybody can do it. And he just recreated it. I believe him that 15 out of 16 were kill shots. And the one that he missed would have got the president's ear. It is a miracle beyond miracles that President Trump was seriously hurt or was assassinated. I think personally, this is my opinion only, that it was just intervention from God. I'm not saying that Trump's insane and all this other stuff. I think God intervened. Nobody is that lucky.
That's a 94% success rate. And that shooter was a better shot than me. It is a miracle President Trump wasn't killed. Corey Campeatore's life is over because that damn shooter made it on the roof. And it wasn't the roof that was dangerous. It was a nut job on top of the roof. You know what else is dangerous? I believe your horrifying ineptitude and your lack of skilled leadership is a disgrace. Your obfuscating today is shameful. And you should be fired immediately and go back to guarding Doritos. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Go back to guarding Doritos. I love that. Because she used to work for PepsiCo for security, who is also Frito-Lay and Doritos. It's amazing to me. It truly, truly is. In all honesty and fairness, when President Trump was president, and say it was reversed, and say at the time his opponent was Hillary Clinton, and say that happened while he was president. The Democrats will be having a stroke. They'd be screaming. They'd be marching in the streets. And President Trump would have fired her in 5 minutes. He would just get on the phone. Ms. Cheadle, president's on the phone. He would do his famous line, "You're fired." "Well, Mr. President, we haven't got all the information." "Are you deaf? You're fired." "Oh, yes, sir." Click. That's the end of the conversation. But the problem is, who's really president? One little tidbit I want to throw in on who's really president. When the letter was posted on Twitter and other places, but Twitter first, that Joe Biden said he was not running for re-election and he's going to stop his campaign. Two very interesting things on who really is president. In that letter, one, it doesn't have the White House symbol. It's not White House stationery. And two, on the bottom of the letter, it says J. Biden's. J-B-I-D-E-N-S. Like it was Jill or somebody wrote the Bidens. Like you put on a Christmas card. Merry Christmas, the Bidens. I don't even think he wrote that. And frankly, I just don't get it. They pulled a coup d'etat in their own party. They took away the choice of millions and millions of people during the primary process for the Democratic nomination. And they turned around and said, "We don't care. We're going to disenfranchise all of you. And we're going to pick who we want and get rid of who we want, regardless of who you voted for in the primary." If that's not an insurrection, I don't know what the hell is. And until the next time, God bless, goodbye, and good luck.